Hi.
Me
Oh,
too. Me too. And my glasses broke.
uh-oh.
I fell asleep in them.
Mm, 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 mm. Anywho, well, guys, uh, um, today's topic was an assessment of me. I was really checking myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What you think?
Um, I think that I have had this pattern that I didn't realize I had of like want this, want that, want to do this. Um, but I never quite managed where I was each time. Except for, I'm starting to notice the pattern. I am starting to notice. So when I talked about like my realization, when I talked about that I had that realization recently, as recent as like last year, as the beginning of last year. That's when I noticed it, and I made a change, and it was very effective. It was really helpful for me to make some changes and choose differently, and I started doing things differently, and it really worked.
Things like what, though?
Well, you have to know the context of what I'm talking about. So, I was at work and I was just complaining about it, not appreciating where I was, and I realized like all the knowledge I had access to that I hadn't asked about, that I hadn't utilized or learned about, and it would have been a shame for me to have that much access to the people who did that type of work and the knowledge that I could have gained for me to not have done that. And so I did. I started asking questions. I started taking on more work just to learn for me, not for anybody else. And because at first I made it about, well, nobody else is taking on extra work. It's just me. I just had to flip my perspective, and then it helped because I started getting all types of information. I started learning all types of stuff, and to them, it looked like I wanted to do more, learn more. I was like all about the company, but I was really doing it for myself. So it was a win-win for everybody once I shifted my perspective. But I had to see that. I had to pray about that, and then I had to get that I had to receive that message like, if you leave here, then what? What have you gained? Because everywhere you go is your university. You can use it as your university, or you can use it as your home. Or either it's your home and that's where you're going to stay and you're just going to get comfortable, or you're going to use it as your university and it's your stepping stone. And I used it as my university, like, okay, I can have this on my resume or whatever, but I didn't fully take advantage of it. And once I did, it unlocked some stuff for me. So that's
Did
really
you read it,
good.
Key?
Yeah, I read it. It felt very personable. Um, I guess I just looked at it like it was more so Daesh. Um, it kind of presented like Daesh's diary a little bit, this vlog, but I think I would add because she had like little pointers for the shift, the message, and like the requirement and the readiness. I think I would add the consistency because I think
Ooh, that's a good one.
this is speaking in terms of like a current moment, but I feel like we run into these moments like quite often after reading a blog, and sometimes when you do finally get to each of these portions, you get to the phase of the readiness. You get to all the way down to the message, but once you receive the message, it's the maintaining the consistency of understanding the message.
Yeah. I think it goes back to one of those things where like social media glorify like the outcome so much that we forget how like with how much emotional capacity that's required of whatever the goal that you're trying to accomplish and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But we don't really think about the consistency as much as this is where we want to be and this is what I got to do to get there.
Yeah, I really don't know. I don't know what I was thinking about, but it's really like it's a message for everybody to take stock of where you are now, because years from now you're not going to be here. What is it that you're going to wish you had access to or that you pulled from here that you'll need 5 years from now? And you don't know what that is. So, get as much as you can. Find as much as you can from where you are now. Pull it and then document it, because it's easy to forget.
Yeah. Have you been doing it?
Documenting in several ways. I have been so all of the blogs, a lot of them are there. What's funny?
I don't know what you laughing at.
All of the blogs are like sort of my diary, but yeah, I've been documenting, like writing things down, and then I write down certain prayers, so that's kind of a documentation, because in it I can tell where I am if I go back and look at something. But also I make little videos to myself. I don't know if I'll ever use them for social media, but they're just my own things to myself. So I've been documenting in a couple different ways. Have you?
Actually, so you sent me something, or you told me something when I was down back at home. You told me to create a video, record a video, and basically like talk to myself and then look back on it at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So I did do that. Okay, so because we are dragging, but I had came to this realization that sometimes I feel like I got ADHD and bipolar issues, because one day I wake up and I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna go slow, like I'm not gonna think about the next step, and then the next day I'm like, holy cow, like I haven't accomplished a dang thing this year. Like, what is going on? I'm about to be 30 next year. Like, what did I accomplish? And that is kind of the seesaw, the teeter-totter of where I am right now. And this blog I think it just made me think about it when I read it, but it's kind of hard to move from that. Like, at one point, it's like you have to do the action to get to the point that you want to get to. But on another hand, it's just like, don't rush it. Like, which one is it? It's just a whole bunch of I don't know. It's too much going on. And I'm tired.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but I feel like there's an appreciation. There's a this is a if you knew what you were doing 5 years from now. So for example, I'll just use me, but kind of think of yourself in this. Um, 5 years ago, I did not have Alani. I did not. I had way more time on my hands than I realized. I also didn't necessarily have. I had ambition, but not the same goal, right? Um, I had more time, more money. Like I had more. I even had more space, even though it was like a 1 bedroom. You see what I'm saying? Like there are pieces that I didn't pause to appreciate because I couldn't see that, even though it's clear, I couldn't see that one day these will be gone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So what you telling me? Oh,
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
wait. No, wait. Look, wait a
Let's
minute.
go back. Let's go back and restate the topic real quick, and then
I need Lenore to get on here because that is a book.
Let me see.
let's restate the topic.
All right,
So there's
so
just
if you're new here, we are talking about. It says, "Are you ready?" So if you go to labelmelegal.com/blog, the topic is, "Are you ready for what you're praying for?" This is Keon, the physical therapist in Georgia. This is Maya, the occupational therapist in Texas, and I am obviously Shatracia, the lawyer. So all three of us are actually sisters. We are missing one, but these are our perspectives. We're just talking about what we learned from the blog, and then wherever else it leads us. So if you want to comment, feel free to comment. If you want to come up and chat, you can do that right now. You have to come to TikTok, to that platform, and then just put in the comments, and we can pull you up so that you can actually speak what you want to say rather than type in the comments. But otherwise, feel free to comment, and we'll try to read everybody's comment. So
Lenore comment.
Lenore's comment says, "What stood out to me the most was the distinction between wanting relief and truly being prepared for responsibility. A lot of people desire the outcome without honestly examining whether their habits, mindset, and structure can sustain it long term." Exactly. That level of self-awareness is difficult, very, because preparation rarely looks exciting. It often looks like consistency, discipline, delayed gratification, and confronting the very pattern we've learned to normalize. I also appreciate the reminder that delay is not always denial. Thank you. Sometimes growth requires us to build the emotional, financial, or mental capacity to handle what we are asking for without losing ourselves once we receive it. And one thing I would add is that preparation becomes more manageable when we focus on small intentional shifts instead of trying to transform overnight. Conduct honest self-audits regularly, create systems instead of relying solely on motivation, and pay attention to recurring cycles in your life, because patterns are often indicators of unresolved areas that still need work. Growth is not just about becoming more successful, it is about becoming stable enough to maintain peace, purpose, and alignment once success arrives. Very true. And I don't know about y'all, but I watch like a lot of podcasts, and like I read a lot of articles, and I'm always listening to like millionaires and entrepreneurs. And one of the things that's consistent with them is, like Lenore said, they always say it's easy to make money. It's easy to get to $1 million product or whatever. What's not easy is to maintain it and to keep it. Which is interesting. That just came to my mind reading that comment. I didn't think about that while I was writing this, but that's true. I don't know how easy it is to make a lot of money. Still working on that. But I believe them. All of them are saying the same thing. Once you figure out what you need to do, it's easy to make it. It's not easy to maintain it. And I think a lot of that has to do with what I'm talking about, because unless you create those systems and processes in place, you will still make the habits, have the habits that you had when you were wasting $20 and spending money that you didn't have. Instead of having a debt of a $5,000 car, now you got a debt of a $50,000 car. So you're still making the same decisions, you're just at a higher level with it. And that is a pattern that I had to learn.
And I think that's a big component to this whole blog, is that what I have to register with myself is, you could pray for things and not be ready, but if your systems are not changing while you're praying, like he said, you're just full of a whole lot of motivation.
Yeah.
And a whole lot of motivation and ambition will get you literally nowhere. And I think that's in like a lot of things. Like, people are like, they want a happy relationship. They want a good relationship that was done so wrong and stuff like that. But it's like, what did you change going into the next one, into the next phase? Like,
Right.
how do you try to do different or better?
Right.
It's a weird noise being made.
Mom said, "Ugh." I think what's going on is I feel y'all are so driven and so hard on yourself. You want quick gratification, but you need to sit down and wait on God to say move. Yeah, I think that's part of it too. But I'm slowly learning that part, to just kind of sit. And I'm also learning, the way I put it is that, I'm rubbing the mic against my shirt, sorry. I'm also learning that I'm not necessarily, like, I was able to wait and slowly do the small steps that built to a degree, right? Because 4 years is a long time, or 7 years is a long time to get to having a law degree. But I took the small steps and got small wins, like I finished this class and that kind of stuff. And now I'm in a different game, and I don't know necessarily what the small steps look like, and I don't know what the small, like I don't know, when you graduate to the next level, or the finishing the class, I don't know what that looks like and what that is. So I'm not able to grasp and catch on to the small wins that I'm making. But I'm like in that process of trying to figure that out. But I kind of put it out there, 2 things. One, I prayed for a different job, and I realized I wasn't prepared. I hadn't gotten everything I need for the job that I was in. And then I prayed for more money, and I hadn't managed the current money that I had. So what have you prayed for and then realized later you weren't actually prepared for it? Anything?
I feel like the current life I have, I prayed for it, and sometimes I don't feel like I'm prepared for it when it becomes overwhelming. But that's an up and down battle. That's why I said, that's why for me, the important part was the consistency, because I'll get back in some of like those old habits and it's unrecognizable. But then once I see it, it's like, oh, you're not locked in. But then you have to kind of balance it, like, how long to be locked in before you get burnout. So it's all, it's a constant battle of trying to, this is the life I prayed for, this is the life I wanted, and I'm still saying I want more. Yeah. But as I feel myself growing, it's really scary. The pressure, the responsibility of other people, the management of other relationships, it started to become very like scary, because you have to remove self as you level up, and it start to become more it feel like about other people. It stop as you grow. It feel like it stop being about you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that responsibility is heavy too, man.
Yeah.
But it's like, am I growing like this to serve a greater purpose? But it's growing in this aspect is helping me achieve all the things I asked for. It's
Yeah.
helping me receive all the things I want. But then at the same time, it feels just like a burden, and you look up and it feels like another job. It's like, wait, you prayed for this.
Yeah.
I think I prayed for I prayed for like more opportunities. Cause if you know me, you know that I've said for the longest, like I don't have the same passion in necessarily like what I do like Keon, and I think I just pray for more opportunities so that I don't have in the long run I don't have to stay in the direct clinical pathway. And when those opportunities did open for me, it was exciting at the moment, and I got that um instant gratification then, but once I was in it, it was like it's still an issue, and I'm still like I don't, I guess it's more like I didn't fully understand like what I truly want. I just think, okay, this pathway will bring me more freedom. I'll be able to travel. Like I'm not looking at it with a full lens. I'm just looking at like the outcome, like kind of like what we said earlier. I want this lifestyle. So if I get this job, I can have this lifestyle.
Yeah.
And yes, that's true, but is it true? I think at the end of the day, if it's not something that's in you and that you like truly, or if your heart is not calling you to it, it's gonna show up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, like, I think right now with that, after I prayed for that, I then prayed for, okay, God, show me my purpose, and give me clarity on it. Scream it at me, because I'm clearly hard headed, and I don't truly understand what it is that I'm wanting. Like, I know what I want, but is it what I should have? You know what I mean? Like, so I'm at this point where I think I just want clarity.
Yeah.
That's been my prayer.
Yeah. That's a good point, Maya. Anybody in the comments, have you ever prayed for something then realized later you weren't actually prepared for it?
Lenore said, I once prayed for greater leadership opportunities, but I was not fully prepared for the weight, criticism, and emotional responsibility that came with leading people. I wanted the position, but I had not yet developed the boundaries or balance needed to carry it well. Looking back, the delays and challenges were not punishment, they were preparation.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
That's exactly how I feel.
I was going to ask you that.
Mom said, in some cases, it's not that you're not prepared or ready for it. Sometimes we can be unappreciative of what we have that God has granted us. Lenore said, you make a very valid point. Sometimes the issue is not lack of preparation, but lack of gratitude or perspective for what we already have in the current season. I think both can exist at the same time. We can appreciate what God has entrusted to us while still recognizing areas where we need growth, healing, or greater stewardship before moving into more.
But I just think nobody really everybody talks about how good it feels once I prayed for this and then God showed me this, but nobody talks about like that season where it's just like, man, like I don't know what's going on. Like I feel like I don't even know who I am no more. Like nobody talks about that in between season.
Yeah, yeah. Or if they do, it's like a blip. It's like, I was here.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, and you like, wait, next thing I know, like, how long did it take you? What did you experience during that process? Well, we skipped something because everybody wants to get to the good part. But I think sometimes we need to sit in the mundane, in the boring, in the parts that look like we're dragging. I think we need to sit in those parts, especially for nothing else but to fully be in them and appreciate them, and to look back later so that we can truly understand where we were and how we felt. And I feel like maybe that's like the blog is serving that for me, because it's a record for me where because most of the blog, sometimes it's stuff that I get from other people, but sometimes it's just whatever I'm ranting about at the moment and how I feel.
Yeah.
Avi said you made a good point, Maya. Hannah said, hey Hannah, no, they don't. They always skip to the good part. Yeah, I mean, and I get it. You got to have, those clickable moments or whatever, but man, Jazz said, I had something pop up in my memory that unlocked, and immediately, because of some life experience, I made sense of it after all these years. Wow. Like pop up in your memory, like your mind, or memory on your phone? Like what do you think triggered that? Because that's the problem. How do we, other than documenting it, that's why I'm documenting in different ways, like videos and writing and stuff like that. How do we have that record to be able to pop back up so that we can visit it and help ourselves make sense of it? Like, what are some tools y'all are using? Obviously, I'm using the videos I said I make to myself. And
I don't think it's necessarily tools. It's just like it's like your consciousness. Like I've experienced this trauma before, and I have the option to utilize my first experience to create a better moment right now, or I can remember what I did that first time and remember the results of it. So I feel like sometimes it's like your consciousness can store things to help you in these other phases of life and growth.
yeah, Jazz answered my question. She said it was in her mind. She said it was like what you're saying, Keon. She said it was completely blocked until the experience happened again. Interesting. Lojo said falling asleep at the wheel is peaceful. Lojo, can you elaborate on that? What do you mean by that? What do you mean by falling asleep at the wheel? Like, do you consider to just be like chill and in the moment? Are you considering that to be falling asleep at the wheel? Lenore said, Maya, the in-between season is honestly where most of the real growth happens. It's the part where you no longer are who you used to be, but not yet fully where you're trying to go. And that space can feel uncomfortable, lonely, and uncertain. People celebrate the outcome, but very few talk about the discipline, the doubt. It's the doubt for me. Like, let's talk about how we were confused the whole time, just for a minute. Like, the stretching and self-reflection that happens in the middle.
But honestly, people don't usually be interested in that part of the story. They're interested in the finish line. And I feel like the in-between be so personal. Like for me, it's hard. Like it's really hard to share. It's something that I know may have helped me, but it's very hard to talk about. It's hard to go back to and remember being in that moment. But it's something like that I'll never forget. It's something I'll never lose. But I think it's very hard to share, and some things are just learned by experiencing someone and realizing like, oh, they may have overcome some stuff just by the way they move or just by how humble they are.
Yeah, that's so true, Keon, because some of it is like, the feeling is, I mean, some of the stuff that you don't share is quite embarrassing. And that's why you don't want to share it. Like, it's okay to show the pictures when you were this weight and show what that number was when you got that after picture that's like crazy different and it looks better. But it's embarrassing to show that number and then like 5 pounds from it and be like, I lost 5 pounds. I'm gonna keep going. Like, people need to see that, but yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I'm guilty of looking at those Facebook reels and stuff, and when I see people like make a video of themselves and they're big and they're like, I'm gonna keep going, I ain't gonna lie, I do be looking for the, like, where's the after? Like, why you post this?
I don't.
Now that I think, it motivates me like to see the after, so I do.
Yeah.
I do be looking for it. I'm not gonna lie.
I like the videos and podcasts where they talk, like, you can see the ending, but they go in depth about their journey.
Man, I like those too. Yeah.
Like Donnie Wiggins.
Yeah, because it helps you. Who is the other one that, like,
Natalie.
as soon as she sat down, she's with the Wall Street Trapper, I think.
Natalie, that's who I was about to say. I think her
Yeah.
name is Natalie Nichols or something. Natalie Nicole Smith.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I asked the question about, like, what tools are y'all using? And Nate answered and said, AI is going to help map things out for us. It's not mainstream yet, but we can create a knowledge graph of our thoughts. Oh, yeah, he just told me about that today.
I did that. Something similar, I think. Like, I kind of thought of it as, you know how during classes, when you're about to go to school, you have the curriculum.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of had it create me a curriculum or like a roadmap because my brain be all over the place. I thought about going back to school. Like, maybe I need to capitalize off the skills that I have now. And I brought in AI to kind of help me put all that together.
So I'm trying to read Avi's comment because she
Which
had a
one?
really good comment.
She deleted it.
She didn't delete it. She replied to the comment, and so it won't let me see the original one. Cause she
No, she
said
didn't delete it.
she said
yeah,
it says this conversation she's been trying to figure out.
She was talking to text and she deleted it because she didn't like the way she didn't want us to read it out loud a certain way.
It doesn't show that it's deleted on my end. Okay. Dang, yeah, you went in. Talking about put it back.
I'm like, is everything okay?
She should have left it up there. She just doing stuff.
Now she just doing stuff. Dang. We would have read through the errors, Ivy.
Yeah, repost it so we can see
Yeah.
because it was long, but
Just scared of me.
Girls. Okay, what's harder for you? Is it believing that you deserve more or becoming the version of yourself that can sustain the more?
I think becoming the version of myself that can sustain the more, because at every moment of life, I feel like God has shown me more. I've asked for this much, and He's given me this much over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have a problem realizing I deserve more.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that as I receive more,
Mm-hmm.
and I walk into that because it's like somebody mentioned it earlier, like. Growth is lonely. You lose a lot of people along the way.
Yeah.
You realize people are not growing in the same direction as you, and that can be hurtful. And so it's like, as I'm becoming this version of what I'm supposed to be and what I see I'm supposed to be, I'm also losing some of, like, what I thought was my best people in the process. And it's like, is this truly what I'm supposed to be, or am I just being a jerk now? Like, is this truly the light I should walk in, or am I becoming a little bit irritable with this person's actions? But that's not true. I'm realizing like I'm outgrowing a lot of who I used to be, and because of that, I'm attracting a different crowd.
Man, it's funny that you said that because I I outgrew something, and I was just kind of like, I didn't really see. I didn't. How do I explain? I didn't really see that I was outgrowing this person or this thing. I was just really irritated, and other people had to point out to me that like you outgrowing this. Kim, what are you laughing at?
They say I'm chewing my gum like it's so good.
Oh.
Put it on mute.
Okay, so the question that I asked was, what's harder for you, believing you deserve more or becoming the version of yourself that can sustain it? Hannah said becoming the version of herself that can sustain it, and Brittany said that too. Yeah, put in the comments which is harder for you. I'm just curious. Yeah, I think for me it is becoming the version too, but to like, because I can like, I'll make the changes. I'll be working towards becoming the version. And then I don't know, it's like when people say they won't change when they get money, like, and they still end up changing. It's like I become the version, but then I like backslide a little bit and like keep making the same and go back to making the same mistakes. But
And no
just in
matter
a
what
different way.
people say, I feel like you have to change when you start making more money. I feel like if you don't, you will be led. A lot of decision making can be led by a transactional relationship or reasoning. You know, you have to be careful who's around. You know, for you and who's around for what you can produce. So
Yeah.
I feel like that people say, when I get this, I ain't gonna change. You have to change. It's
Yeah.
impossible for you not to change because the the way people value money may not necessarily be how you value money, but at the same time, people value it so much that they're willing to do any and everything to get to it, and it becomes toxic.
Yeah, that's a good point. Erica said becoming the version of herself that can sustain it, and she said yes to all of what you saying, Keon.
Yeah.
And when I pray for growth, like I don't think I've ever been one to pay like, Lord, I need a whole bunch of money. Like I don't
Yeah,
think I've ever been that person.
yeah,
Like I think I've always prayed for things that can put me in a position to generate more revenue.
yeah,
And I pray for financial freedom, and I pray for things of that sort. But like, I have never just really been the type to just directly pray for a dollar amount to create happiness for me, because I feel like it's no matter how much money you get, if all these other factors in life are not managed,
yeah,
money will still never be enough.
Yeah. Yeah. I never prayed for money either. I think I prayed for I guess wholeness, like capacity, things like that. Like I think I've just prayed for maybe it does equate to money because I want a certain lifestyle.
I mean, I get what you're saying. You didn't directly pray for it, but y'all gonna have to say a prayer for me because I did. I directly prayed for my amount. I specifically said, we're gonna have to double this income, Lord. I literally put it on I had a check, and I took one of my checks, and I wrote the check out to myself for $100,000, and I put it on my vision board. I was like, yeah, we need to make that. I was quite angry because it was, I was in that place where I had finished law school and I was like working hard and I was really enjoying my job, but I also made $50,000 and I felt, and I had debt and I felt like I would never get out. Like no amount of budgeting, and I didn't know what to do. So I prayed to double the income. And guess what? That student loan debt ain't went nowhere. So, and that's why you got to change yourself instead of asking for money. And asking for money. My debt did go somewhere, but I ended up getting myself into more debt. I got that paid down. I ended up getting into more debt, and it was more than I had before, and I ended up working 2 jobs to get that down. Like, I got back into I did really well, and then I got back into the same cycle. So, yeah. That's a problem.
Yeah.
I am a walking billboard, cautionary tale.
Yeah. I think that's why I don't feel like I pray for money, because I don't know. I feel like, well, not that, but it's like famous people and people making like millions of dollars that's still unhappy. I always just think about that. Like people that who was that? Robin
Williams.
Yes. I just think about like him. Like I don't know technically, like I don't know his full story, but it's just like
Technically,
you on
he
top.
had the worst version of like Lou Gehrig's disease. Like his mind was still there, but his body was not his. He didn't have the sharpness. He was like really upset with how his body and his mind was functioning. So, but I get what you're saying, because like, why do I know that? Move on.
Exactly. This is the stuff I be talking about. They should be doing random facts.
I saw that look on your face.
But anyways.
Lenore says sometimes we hold on to childhood friendships or family out of history, loyalty, or comfort without realizing that growth changes people. Not everyone is meant to go with you into every season of your life, and that's okay. One of the clearest signs of growth is when you can reconnect with certain people from your past and immediately recognize that your mindset, priorities, and emotional maturity no longer align. That doesn't always make them bad people. It just means the connection may no longer fit who you're becoming. Hannah said I think financial stability was one of the things that she prayed for. And she said, don't get me wrong, I need a couple million. Because I do want to leave Honey in a great position, but I do pray for financial freedom. Jill said, I feel like I will never make that kind of money, maybe due to my age. Jill, the person who says they will make that money and the person who says they will never make that money, both of them are right. You are, and God are the creator of your life. So if that's how you feel, then that's what it is. But I can tell you it's not due to your age. Hannah said, to be honest, if I ask for more, I'm going to spend more. So I do need financial discipline. That's what I'm talking about, Hannah. And that kind of like self-awareness and discipline, it's really hard.
But that is one of the key things that, that was the reason why I brought up. I'm not somebody who prayed for money, because one of the key problems in this world is we pray to go from rags to riches, and we literally cannot manage the money that's right in front of us today. So in what world is anybody gonna say, here's more to play around with?
Yeah.
Here's even more to play. And then before you know it, you gotta know thousands of dollars of debt. You've introduced yourself to millions of dollars of debt.
Yeah.
And that's a scary type of place to be in millions of dollars of debt.
Yeah. I think Erica said, nothing wrong with being exact or specific. Ask for what you want. I think something like that, like the financial discipline and like being in debt and all of that, and asking for what you want, it's nothing wrong with it. But the problem is we don't ask for like the discipline, the things that need to accompany that. And so one of the things that I did when I evaluated, like I was evaluating the what I'm talking about, the past when I asked for that and the situation that I got myself into, um, I thought about like if I got $1 million right now, let's say I did something or created something and I woke up to all these emails of everybody bought my products and now I got all this money sitting in my account. What am I gonna do? Like I don't have the tax person to tell me what to do next. I don't have the financial person. I don't know the accounts or the savings accounts that I should be getting. So when I thought about that, I thought about what to do and what I would do, and as if I have the money. And then I have this book that's basically a money book, and it's all the money tips I've ever learned. And I have to write down stuff and actually write them so that I can commit them to memory. The savings account that I would, or not savings, but all of the accounts that I would get for my daughter, like if she could work for me and like tax deferments and different things. I just started writing down like different places to put my money as if I had it. And that was one of the moves that I started making. So when I got it and when I got lump sums of money, I knew exactly where to put it.
So Dash, you know, one thing I've learned is you got a lot of systems that you utilize and tools. How consistent are you with these systems and tools? Like, you do a lot of writing down, you do a lot of utilization of books. How consistent are you, and why are you in this loop with all these systems?
So it's not necessarily systems. I don't like to like call them like systems. I just like I try to document things as I remember them, as I think about them, and I try to be disciplined enough when I think about something that's, enough to write down, I go write it down. Now, since then, I have switched over to a digital form and I use my iPad, but it's still like I use a pencil and it's in notepad form so that it feels like I'm writing. And now I can access if like I thought about something that's like a trust, I can type in the word trust and find it. So I'm consistently doing it, but it's not a consistency like I said I'm gonna do it every day. I just make sure to have the discipline when I think of an idea or when I see an idea or when I learn something, because I'm consistently going down rabbit holes and learning things. I just committed to writing it down. I'm not necessarily in a loop of like that kind of system. I'm in a different kind of loop because I'm in a different kind of space now.
Yeah. Carol said, I agree with Eric and Nicole. I would love to be financially stable, to be a blessing to my family and friends, and also help someone less fortunate and do something for Malden for the homeless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it do kind of suck sometimes when you have like those type of hearts, and it's like those aren't the people that's getting brilliant. Elon Musk is, who literally don't care about nobody but himself. And
Yeah.
that's why I wonder sometimes, is financial gain, is that a place for someone with the type of heart and passion that I had? Like, what if we're all in this world looking like the people with money is like winning when all along it was us. We was the ones that was winning. We actually the ones that's living this glory
Peaceful.
filled life.
Yeah.
Yes, and we feel like looking on the outside in, it's these peoples with millions and billions is doing all this stuff. And
Yeah.
aren't we blessed with those? Why aren't we the ones that's giving in?
Yeah. I think there is some truth to that. I also learned this weekend, I was giving another one of my ideas. It was really helpful to my sister. the oldest one that's not on here. And she said, you always want to help people. You always trying to think of ways to help people and ideas. And she was like, and that's probably why you can't get what you're trying to get to, because your motivation is, as soon as I get it, how can I give it to the next? How can I, like, even with my legal information, she was like, but you not realizing that you the one that need help. And I was like, you sure right. I need to sit down somewhere. And then I listened to something Maya sent me that was PMJ, Pastor Mike Jr., and he was like, you know, you over functioning and trying to do all these things and help other people. And maybe you loan somebody money or help somebody, and that same person is the person that God was trying to teach a lesson to, and you done got in the middle of that. And I'm like, oh, okay. So basically, if I get more money, I'm gonna do a whole bunch of getting in the middle of stuff. So I'm learning that about myself. Like, people have to want to help themselves.
Right. Stephen said, I didn't know anything about financial literacy until I started working for a credit card company. My money management was horrible until about 5 years ago. Knowledge is power, and now I know I don't have to spend my money or give it away just because I have what I thought was extra money. A few $100s in the bank is not extra.
Yep.
Yeah.
Lenore said, what we put into the universe matters. There's nothing wrong with speaking positivity over your life, claiming what you desire, and aligning your mindset with peace, growth, and purpose. Positive vibrations, positive energy, and intentional thoughts can shift not only how we feel, but how we move through life and respond to opportunities. Jill said, I feel like I'm moving backwards instead of forward. Backwards in what area, Jill? Maybe I felt like that too until I shifted my perspective. Erica said her prayer is to be financially stable, to be able to take care of her family. Yeah, Erica, I don't know, man. Depends on what you mean by take care of, because you might also learn that you want to take care of your family, but maybe they making decisions where God is trying to teach them a lesson, and He don't want you to take care of them. It's the same thing I'm learning. Hannah said we'll spend every dime. And she's in a horrible loop. Yeah, that poverty loop. Mom said, Key, then you're in the right place. God looks at the giving heart. Pray for those people and ask God to assist. He can't bless you to be a blessing if you're unable to be a good steward of His gains. Very true. Marie said she's found that the more she helps the less fortunate people, the more she receives back from God. So keep blessing someone else. Mom said we can be an enabler of others trying to be too much of a giver, and God's want them to learn a lesson. Exact. That's the lesson I'm learning. Like, to not be an enabler.
Yeah, being able to know the difference between an enabler and, like, you steady showing up for somebody.
Yeah.
Like,
You know, like, how do you balance, how do you balance that? Just like, to not get to the point of abuse.
Yeah, like some people need to fall.
And one thing I was talking to one of my friends about is like, I'm a firm believer that what you put into this world is what you get out of it. So, you know, like, I'm not doing no scamming. I'm not gonna be able to do it.
You're not doing what, Tia?
No scamming.
Oh.
You know, I just truly believe that what you put into this world is what you get out of it.
Yeah.
And it was this situation where I was at this Mexican restaurant, and all the people that spoke English left for the day. They was just giving me all this stuff. They didn't understand what was going on, and they just kind of wanted the interaction to be over. But I was like, I gotta pay you, because my conscience just could not take advantage of these people's ignorance to English. It's a language barrier, and just take advantage of this moment and be like, "Oh, I got a blessing today." That ain't no blessing, you know. So I think like having those moments of just realizing like you in those moments when nobody's watching, nobody's around, there's not a crowd, you have to have some type of realness about yourself in order to get continued blessings when you know.
Yeah. Tita asked a good question because everybody has been saying financial stability, and you don't necessarily have to, if you don't want to, kind of put your business out there. But that is a good question. She said, "What is financial stability?" Because I want the same thing, and I think it's different things for different people. But the question that I know it's different for different people. But have you, for those of you who are saying or thinking financial stability, have you actually written out what financial stability looks like? Like, does it look like being able to pay your car payment, or does it look like not having a debt and owing somebody for a car? Does it look like being able to pay your bills every month, or does it look like being able to pay your bills every month, save something for the future, save something for your child or someone else, plus give 10% to charity or, church or, what is financial stability? Have you written it out? Have you figured out what that number looks like and why? How many vacations a year is that?
I don't think it's a number as much as it's like being able to pay your bills. For me, pay my bills, manage the debt I do have, save for the future, and being able to handle the economic stressors of the world and not being worried. Like, I'm somebody who watched the news on purpose, especially if you recently paid attention. The gas prices are really starting to scare me. I'm this close to buying a bicycle. For real. But I feel like I do feel like, like if someone was just, really financially stable, they can be like, oh, them gas prices can go up to $6. I ain't gonna care. That's somebody who really financially stable to me, because I'm looking at it slowly creeping up day after day, and I am getting nervous. Like,
Wait, you said, oh, what?
what?
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, Maya.
No, I didn't know. I tried to stop her, but she kept going. Never mind. Keep going.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I want to live comfortably, but when I see these gas prices going up, it really scares me about simple travel in the next month or two. Like just and I would like, for me to remain financially stable, I would like to stay profitable, and to stay profitable, I have to remain healthy. If I'm not healthy, there's no way I can help others, and there's no way I can make a profit. But I'm telling you, the way these gas prices look, it makes you feel very insecure. Gas prices,
like financially insecure.
Yeah, because those are simple. Those were once simple things in life, like gas and groceries. I had to get them anyways. I wasn't gonna pay attention. But now, 3 items amounting to $70. That's scary. I'm scared to see November, December, because you've created an economy where we can't save. It's impossible. Trying to save is hard. You can't go without. You got to have these things. They're a necessity. So it's like, I'm not scared about today as much as I'm fearful about the months to come. And I feel like if I was truly financially stable, I wouldn't have that fear.
Right. And quite frankly, you should be, because this type of stuff furthers the wealth gap and the haves and the have-nots. And you can only, I feel like, like having a certain amount of money, especially if it's dependent on what someone else is doing or what someone else gave you is it is scary because your eggs are in one basket. You're getting one income from one source, and that income is not enough for the things that you need, let alone the things that you want. And in a few months, when this and this rises and the price rises, the problem is that income doesn't go up and say, oh, I'm going to give you a cost of living raise or something like that. As a matter of fact, they do the opposite, and they're like, well, we losing money too, so I'm starting laying people off. Meta laid off 8,000 people. That's 8,000 people without a job. Another company laid off 1,400.
And then another thing that's scary is when the economy gets like this and poverty increases, crime increases. If crime increases, for me, sometimes in the medical field, it can, you can get more patients, yeah, but also you're more at risk of being subject to a crime. I mean, it's a lot of poverty. It's a lot of people that's hurting right now and broke and going through it. Like 1 + 1 = 2, and I just feel like there's not enough self-awareness going on in the world right now. Social media is just something I'm so disgusted about. All the TikTok distractions, all the influencer distractions, especially from like the youth being distracted by that and not being able to see, like, don't be expecting to go because you watch TikTok all day. Don't expect to go out with somebody and think you can only bring $10. That's not where we are today no more.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like things like that. Like, you've been scrolling on TikTok all day, you ain't paid attention to the gas prices, or you ain't, it's just like, it's getting annoying. It's getting scary out here, and it's just like, it's hard to navigate.
Yeah. Hannah said she has a problem with that, but she remembers a Bible study we talked about how maybe the blessing is not money, but more time saved from hidden dangers. I'm assuming, Hannah, you're talking about you have a problem with like helping people and like trying to being an enabler, basically. Carol said, in response to what is financially stable, she said for her, it's having enough money to take care of all her needs, being able to make sure her family has everything they need. But if I give you a certain amount of money and you mishandle it, don't expect me to keep helping you if you aren't willing to help yourself. That's good. That's how you don't create enablers. Hannah said, I don't feel like everything I put out, I get back, but I don't know. I feel like that sometimes too, Hannah. But I keep putting out because I get some of it back, but I feel like, yeah. Perhaps I just haven't met the right people that can give back. And I'm slowly getting to that. So I think you might get it back. It's just right now you're not in the area where you need it, or the people that you've run into so far can serve you on what you need back. She said, I remember Keon telling her that sometimes you pour into the wrong people, but my heart is still the same. And Mom said, them people will later learn that was a lesson, a test. And as I always say, you may not pay who you owe, but you will reap what you sow. And that's to everyone before you leave this earth. She answered the question, basically hers is the financial stability is being able to live comfortably. Hannah says she drives 200 miles a day. It's getting crazy. Girl, is the drive worth it? I mean, why are we driving 200 miles a day? Tita said she wants to get out of debt and focus on her credit. One thing she's learned is when that paycheck hits, it's gone. But if your credit is in good standing, you can survive on credit if you don't abuse it. And that's what she's focused on now, getting herself out of debt. Marie says she feels the same way. She got a bike and a four-wheeler. She's finna park her car. Well, Kia, you might want to get that bike. Mom said, I don't care how much money you have. A rich person complains about price increases too. If they say not, they are lying. They like that dollar too much. They do. They do complain. Demond said, thank you, Keon, Daisha, and Maya for checking on me. Make sure that I was all right. You're welcome. Okay. So basically, I think this I made this blog about me personally because I just wanted to, instead of talking in general, I had a specific situation that I could identify with. But I think this blog was for everybody to do sort of a self-reflection to identify, are you ready for what you're asking for? Think about what you want. Like if I could just have X, are you in the position? Do you have what you need? Have you done the research? Have you looked up where the money's going to go and how to, have you done that thing to, if it was dropped in your lap, to be able to get it and keep it? Or are you still making the same habits? Because people think that, I have $100 and it's only $100, so I spend, $10 on whatever. But if I had 1,000, I wouldn't do that. That's just not true. So it's really a self-evaluation for everybody. And that's kind of what I'm constantly kind of going through right now. But I appreciate y'all for kind of having the conversation and responding and answering the questions. And like really thinking about some things, and I hope it stimulated some things that can help you like get there if you're not there, or think about like, that question that Tita asked, what is financial stability? If it's a number, then write out, why is it that number? What exactly do you want to do with that number? Like get into the details as if you have it. Erica says she wants to be debt free, have a year worth of household bills saved up, a $10,000 emergency fund, a $5,000 to $10,000 vacation fund. So I'm guessing I need about $1 million at least. Oh, but you're on the right track though. That's good. I like that. And it doesn't sound unreasonable. I'm sorry, but that doesn't sound unreasonable to me.
Yeah. That's funny, Key.
Tita said TikTok the new QVC. She became part of the TikTok affiliate program thinking she would make extra money only to earn pennies on anything you sell for them. You still working hard to make money for someone else. I'm trying to get ready for what I'm asking for because this goes a few weeks ago. Faith without work is dead. Yes, ma'am. So, okay, the next week's topic, if you go on my website, labelmelegal.com, and you look on the blog, right now it's up. It says, is marriage necessary? I'm not actually asking, is marriage necessary? Next week's topic is the dichotomy between two people who are together. They have been together for a while. One person is like, we got everything we need, we good. Why do we need to sign that piece of paper? And the other person is like, no, I actually want the marriage. I want to legally be married. And both are kind of like, but why? And going back and forth. And so I kind of go down this like, here's what this one's arguments are, here's what this one's are, and I go a little bit into history, the history of marriage, and to conclude like who's right, who's wrong, is anybody wrong, and understanding that discussion. But I would really love it if there are people who have opposing views. If y'all can tag some friends, come next week and chat about it. Or if you have been in a relationship for years and you've never gotten married, but you had that conversation maybe, or you're both on the same page, that, come and share your views. So next week, that's what we're talking about, the balance between should we get married, should we not, and how those relationships work out.
Yeah, thank y'all for rocking with us. Everybody have a good week. I hope next week is a little less serious, a little bit more messy. So be prepared for next week's live. Hannah made a few last comments. She said, to be honest, day trading and investment in the stock market is the only way to make good money and allow your money to work for you.
Yeah.
I think there are other ways for your money to work for you. When you find your passion, when you walk in your purpose a little bit more, it's other ways for your money to work for you. And I'm learning that. I'm learning it along the way because I honestly thought I messed up being so passionate about PT, and I should have went into tech. And I couldn't imagine sitting in front of a computer all day, honestly, and thinking I'm gonna make some money. So I think your passion. I think being passionate about your next steps and being passionate about your future and knowing what you're passionate about and walking in that boldly is going to get you everything that you ask and pray for because God has a plan for you. And that ain't necessarily going to be day trading and investments because that world is honestly not for everybody.
Yeah.
I think investments is for everybody. I think we make it seem like it's not for everybody. Just because you invest don't mean you have to watch the stock market all day, every day. Investments can be through a HSA, it can be through your 401k, it could be through a Roth, it could be different types of investments.
Yeah. We just got to know what types of investments. And maybe one day, Maya, you can educate us on what investments can get us there. But as of right now, you ain't got an answer.
Okay, thank
All right,
y'all.
y'all have a
Have a good
day,
week.
y'all.
We gotta go, sassy pants.